Okay, what's up, everybody? This is week 6 power rankings. Unfortunately, I filmed this entire thing on my phone, and then I ran out of storage, and it didn't save it. So now I am filming again. So if it seems kind of rushed, that's why. This is the second time I'm filming, and I want to go to bed. But I'm gonna try and do my best to touch on all the things I touched on last time, starting with our number 12 team, our shitter of the week. Um, you know, it's usually a glorious, momentous moment to name a shitter of the week. It's usually something that everyone looks forward to every week, and we like to publicly humiliate and shame the people that don't pick the right athletes to, you know, take their whole mental well-being off of. And that person this week is Arthur, and it's kind of sad, because I think in another world Arthur could have had a really good season, and he just didn't. It was just unlucky. It was injuries. It was bad luck and scores. And he's 0-6, which I know that Neil is going to find really funny. So maybe it is funny. Maybe it's a little funny. Maybe I think it's funny too. I don't know. I haven't decided. But Arthur's at number 6. Jordan Mason has an AC joint sprain. Chris Olave, I feel like once a year he gets absolutely popped and just dies. I feel like that's happened just about every year of his career. So, and then Dallas Goddard got hurt too. It's over, man. You're 0-6. The injuries keep piling up. Devon Achane is no more, and it's sad. It's real sad. So that's Arthur at 12. Coming at number 11, I got Diego. I think that DeAndre Swift, the emergence of Jameson Williams, Trey McBride, and the fact that Tyreek Hill will be an elite fantasy asset again soon, it just makes Diego's team better than Arthur's, I think, for sure. And maybe better than the next team that I have ahead of him, but we'll talk about that later. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of over for Diego too, but you got to win this week. If you could rattle off 3-4 wins in a row, you're right back in the thick of it. So who knows? I think with Tyreek Hill getting his QB back, anything can happen. And then Travis Etienne got hurt. That sucks for Diego. I'm glad he's not on my team. So that's Diego at 11. Coming at number 10, it's going to be Neil. And you know what? I'm disappointed in Neil. I went on a limb. I stuck my neck out for this guy. Ranked him really high last week. And you know what? He didn't come to play, okay? He didn't motivate his players enough. He didn't coach them hard enough in practice throughout the week, obviously. And, they came out and they looked flat, okay? They just didn't look ready to play. They got on their high horse after a big win last week and just forgot all about the rest of the season. I just think it sucks, and I was so excited to put Neil up high because I really love the core still. I think it's kind of like Arthur, like in another world where Rashee Rice and Isaiah Pacheco don't get hurt, I think this is a solid team. But honestly, if I was Neil right now, I think I'd be looking to trade Jamar Chase or Mike Evans. I really do think you just need to shake things up, and you just have no depth. Like, you're so top heavy that when the big guys at receiver don't have their best games, it looks like this. And so that would be something I'd be looking to do. And I don't know if Neil wants to do that, but I'm just a talking head. I'm just shitballing here. So coming at number 9, it's going to be Eric. Eric showed some signs of life this week, and Eric is about to be 4-2. Now, I still think Eric should not be 4-2. That is still not an accurate representation of how his season has gone. But he earned this one this week. You dropped 140 points, albeit Arthur didn't put up much of a fight. But J.K. Dobbins is a good back. I really like J.K. Dobbins. Gus Edwards is on IR now, and they had rookie Kimani Vidal, I think is how you pronounce his last name. He got in there for a touchdown, but I really do think the way Dobbins is playing with Gus Edwards on IR, it's just going to be the J.K. Dobbins show, and I think it should be. So, and I think Chase Brown is the number 1 running back in Cincinnati. It sucks for me because I have liked Zach Moss, and I really did think that no matter what, Zach Moss was going to keep the goal line work, and Chase Brown was going to be the passing down guy, and that just hasn't been the case. Chase Brown's just been more explosive and better at the goal line, really. I mean, Zach Moss has been getting goal line opportunities, and he can't convert them, and Chase Brown has been. So I like that. Garrett Wilson has arrived. He's officially on target with Aaron Rodgers. They lost a heartbreaker to Buffalo, and I don't really know. I thought the offense looked much better with the new coach, just much more. I don't know, it just looked like a fucking NFL offense for the first time. It's like finally there are blocking patterns and route tree patterns that just look like they actually work, and so that's good for Garrett Wilson. And then as long as Nico Collins is on IR, Tank Dell's a really solid wide receiver too. So, you're getting Jonathan Taylor back soon. That'll be a big help. I don't know exactly when he's coming back. Let me look. So he was rolled out for week 6. According to this, it's not. I don't think it's out of the question that. I don't think it's out of the question that he could play next week, but I doubt that he will. To be honest with you, with a high ankle sprain. So that's Eric's team. It's definitely looking better than it has at number 9. Coming at number 8, it's gonna be Ray, and I like Ray's team. I really like the running backs. Justin Jefferson is awesome. Josh Allen is awesome. The problem is, and I don't know, I can't quite put my finger on it. First of all, George Pickens has been a dud, which sucks because I was really high on George Pickens going into this year. And I'm just, I just look at the lineup and I'm not quite as excited about it as I am the teams that I have ahead of Ray. I think it's a good team. Ray's going to be 3-3. He's got just as good of a chance to win the championship as anybody ahead of him. But I don't know. The blood is not flowing to my groin as much as it does when I look at some of the other teams. So maybe that's just a me thing. So I don't know. I like I said, I like Ray's team. I think, honestly, 8 through number 1 are teams that I think could all win the championship. So it's very log jammed right now. So I'm sorry, Ray. It might be disrespectful, but that's just where I got you right now, man. Coming at number 7 is going to be Eli. Definitely things are looking up for Eli. Takes the L this week, but puts up about 130 points. I just got to say, Chuba Hubbard has been league-saving for Eli. The current RB5 on the season. I think without Chuba Hubbard, that pickup, Eli might be like 1-5 or 2-4 instead of 3-3. He's just been awesome. And then we finally got the breakout game from Bijan Robinson that we've been looking for a year and a half now. It's nice to see. Like, I know it was Carolina, and I know Tyler Algier still got in there for a touchdown. But for right now, we're just going to celebrate it and enjoy it. It's nice to see. As the person that had Bijan on my team all last year and suffered, I'm happy for him. So, and then, the receivers, I don't know what the hell's up with Brandon Ayuk. I just wonder if there's a locker room disconnect there with him and Purdy. They're just not on the same page. But, you're getting Puka back soon. I think Puka might come back as soon as week 8, I believe. He can come on IR after week 8. So I don't know that means he'll be back, but it could be soon. Hold on one second. Let me check this. Okay. So I think when you slide Puka into that lineup, it definitely looks a lot better to me because I think the receivers are your weak point right now. But you're going to have an elite quarterback no matter what, and you've got 2, and you should trade me one of them. And then, if Ayuk's your wide receiver 2 and not your wide receiver 1, I think you feel better about that. You can deal with the boom bust. And then you can just decide Jaden Reed, Jackson Smith, Keenan Allen on matchup. And I like that better. I like that you wouldn't have to be relying on those guys as much. So that's Eli at number 7. I think things are looking up. Just outside looking into the playoff hunt right now. But I think he's got a good chance when Puka comes back. So coming at number 6, we got Michael. Disrespected him last week. I said 8 could have been a dumb ranking, and it totally was. This is the hottest team in the league. David Montgomery, George Kittle, A.J. Brown are all elite at their positions. Kittle's the tight end 1 right now, by the way. He is the tight end 1. He just keeps putting up points. And then, I think Dave Montgomery is an upgrade over Travis Etienne. I don't, if I could go back today, would I make the trade that I made? Probably not. But really, it's not even Dave Montgomery necessarily. I just didn't see this shit coming with Caleb Williams, man. I mean, we'll see, though, because Caleb's got a bye. He's got Washington, Arizona, New England, Green Bay. And then after Week 11, it gets a lot harder for Caleb. It's Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit, San Francisco, Minnesota, Detroit, Seattle, Green Bay to end the season for Caleb. So definitely in a stretch of easy matchups right now. I am excited to see how Caleb Williams performs once we start getting in those divisional matchups. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a great pickup for Michael and David Montgomery. And then, DJ Moore had a down week. I still think he's the number 1 in Chicago. He's the guy that they want to get the ball. I think that's a fine wide receiver too. And then, if you're deciding between Downs, Lockett, Kirk, Worthy at the flex, and maybe Nick Chubb, if he's something of a fantasy asset, I don't know. I don't hate that. So, Mike's the hottest team in the league right now. We may even be looking here next week, and 6 is a disrespectful ranking for him. Firmly in the playoff hunt right now, firmly in championship contention. I feel like I've kind of been tooting on that horn for the past couple weeks and just saying let this guy's team get healthy. And it's healthy now. So good for Michael. Good trade to go get David Montgomery. I'm not too mad about it because I love Josh Jacobs. I think he's got league-winning upside. And I'm a Packers fan, so I'm also biased. But that's Michael. Coming at number 6. Coming at number 5, I got Josh. This is a far cry. Josh was the clear number 1 team in the league there for a couple weeks. And I do think the Nico loss has just made the depth problem look so much worse because you're relying on guys like Keon Coleman and Romeo Doubs week in, week out, who I just don't think are reliable fantasy assets right now. I don't really trust Ramondre, although, again, like your RB3, it's kind of whatever. But, yeah, man, it's real thin at wide receiver. Even Debo as your wide receiver 1, it's like he broke off like a 70-yard touchdown. Outside of that, he didn't do too much against Seattle. And then I'm not worried about Barkley. Barkley is my RB1 rest of the season still. But I want to talk about CJ Stroud a little bit because he was drafted to be a top 5 QB. Like, he was drafted in the 5th round by Josh. And he just hasn't quite been that. He's QB9 right now, so it's not bad. But that Texans offense has certainly been more... Sorry, my nose is itching. It's been more run-pass balanced than I thought it would. I thought when they added Diggs and they had Dell, Nico, and Diggs, like I just thought that meant let's air it out. But Joe Mixon is getting the ball 25 times a game when he's healthy, and I do think that limits CJ Stroud's upside just a little bit. But in terms of like real life, I think it's good for CJ Stroud just because for a young quarterback, you want that run game. It's just he hasn't been quite the like elite fantasy quarterback we were hoping he would be. But so I don't think all hope is lost for Josh. I just think it's not the same without Nico, and it just won't ever be. I don't know how good of a chance he has to win the championship if Nico's not in the lineup, which he's not done for the year, so I'm not panicking totally on that. But like if he had a setback or something or got injured again, it's not looking good for Josh. So that's Josh at 5. Kind of number 4 is a team that I think I've been disrespecting this year so far, and I'm finally going to give him his flowers, and that's Brandon. And, the reason is because you look at the lineup, the first place my eyes go to is Ezekiel Elliott is in your RB1 spot. Now, he's not. I mean, Joe Mixon's the RB1, but Ezekiel Elliott is the first name under the quarterback. And you look at that and you're like, what the hell? Like, that's horrible. But he puts up 140 points. You know why? Because Joe Mixon, CeeDee Lamb, Drake London, and Chris freaking Godwin are elite fantasy assets. Chris Godwin is the wide receiver 1 after week 6. That is nuts. I spoke highly of Chris Godwin after the draft, and so I've taken plenty of victory laps on that. But god damn, dude, I didn't see wide receiver 1 numbers coming in. And the guy's just, I mean, he took a 4-yard out route for a 50-yard touchdown. Like he looks like he's doing like the Cooper Kupp roll, where it's just like the short option routes. He's getting the targeted. He got 13 targets yesterday, but he's also like really good after the catch. And so, shout out Chris Godwin, shout out Drake London. I think CeeDee Lamb, it's coming, dude. The breakout games are coming. 14 targets this week, still gets you 16 points. I believe in that. So we'll see. I mean, with Aaron Jones healthy, like this has an argument to be the best lineup in the fantasy league. And finally, Mark Andrews had a decent game, got a touchdown on your bench. But, listen, the depth is not there. But when you have those 4 guys in the lineup, it might not matter. So that's Brandon at 4. Coming at number 3, it's going to be Isaiah. Now, so me and Isaiah just played. I won 111 to 99.6. And if you go look at that matchup, you'll notice in the RB2 slot, Isaiah's got James Cook with a big fat goose egg. Did not play today. And the backup, Ray Davis, had 18 points on Isaiah's bench. If that's not comedy, I don't know what is. All I got to say about that is bad management, okay? It's not dedicated to fantasy football, choosing work over fantasy football. That's not my problem. No, I'm just playing. That was stupid. That was bullshit. Whatever. But I gotta say, they just put in an auto sub feature on Sleeper Fantasy, where you could have made it to where Ray Davis could auto sub in if James Cook was out, and you chose not to do that. So that's on you, buddy. But like I said, it's better to be lucky than good sometimes, and I got very lucky this week. Isaiah should have won. That's clear. And even past that, I mean, DK Metcalf should have had 2 touchdowns, although I could argue that Brian Thomas Jr. should have had 2 touchdowns as well, but I won't. Isaiah's got a very good team. The top 4 teams I had last week all did shitty. Like, even if Isaiah wins this week, I don't know that you feel great about it. It's not like he would have had like 140 points. He would have had like 115. But I do think just overall, I mean, Derrick Henry could finish as the RB1. And then I do like Amon-Ra St. Brown and DK. Like I said, DK went 3 of 11. 3 catches, 11 targets. It's just the Seahawks just suck against the Niners. But I like T. Higgins at your flex. He has surprised me this year. He's looked real good. And yeah, just an unfortunate event. By the way, Evan Engram broke out this week. Looked like he did last year. So, that's definitely something to monitor. Isaiah currently has 3 quarterbacks on his roster and 3 tight ends. So I don't really know what to make of that either. But yeah, really funny loss. I knew Isaiah was working at the fair. And I also knew that he doesn't have the best connection because yesterday he asked me to text him what was going on in our sleeper matchup because he couldn't load it. And so it was I was sitting at work. It was pretty dead. I was on my phone and I see James Cook is out in one of my other leagues. And I was just happy because I thought he'd put Ray Davis in and I didn't think Ray Davis was going to do shit. But then I looked 20 minutes later at 4:45. I'm like, holy shit, he hasn't taken James Cook out yet. And then I realized he doesn't have an internet connection. And I'm like, oh my God, if he can't get this done, Breece Hall just needs 10 points. And that's exactly what happened. And, all I got to say, man, my team, we coach defense hard, okay? We're not just all flash. We're not all offense. I push my guys in practice every week to play hard-nosed defense to stop the other team from scoring points. And that's exactly what we did, okay? We made the Wi-Fi at the Fresno Fair shitty, and we made it busy at Isaiah's food truck so he would forget to look at his phone. And, I got to give the defense some flowers for that. So it's a big win for me, a big loss for Isaiah. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. He's going to be 4-2. He's still right in it, but I'm sure he's really mad, and I would be too, but it's pretty funny. So coming in at number 2, I got myself. And I don't have myself over Isaiah because of this week. I'm Trust me, I'm well aware I should not have won. But my ranking, as I said last week, is about the future. I should be, it's not 100%, but I should be getting Cooper Kupp and Malik Neighbors back in the lineup this next week. That just feels so huge to me. I can finally get Zach Moss. He's on the op list. He's on the no-no list. He's on my Dunzo list. He's going to the bench. Amari Cooper's probably going to the bench. And we're inserting Cooper Kupp and Malik Neighbors. So that feels good. And then I think there's a chance I get TJ Hawkinson back next week, but I'm not banking on that. But I think if not this next week, he should be back in week 8, and then Waddle gets Tua back in week 8. So, I mean, you're looking at a lineup at that point of a combination of Jared Goff and Mahomes at quarterback, Breece Hall and Jacobs at running back, Neighbors, Kupp at receiver, Hawkinson at tight end, and Waddle, Brian Thomas Jr., or Amari Cooper at the flex. I mean, that's pretty damn good, man. If you ask me, I think that's – I personally think with that lineup, I'm probably number one. But I'm not going to put myself at number one because you just get instantly cursed at number one. Just ask myself, Josh, and Liam. So if I don't put you at number one and you want to be number one, it's because I like you. I'm doing you a favor. And with that being said, at number one, I've got Liam. So congrats, Liam. Back-to-back weeks at number one. You've earned it, buddy. Yeah, here's the thing. Like, curses aside, Liam's team fucking was horrible this week. It was terrible. But like I said, all of the teams I had at the top of the league were bad this week. I don't think really anyone did enough to where I feel justified in moving them all the way up to number one. And, like, Liam's lineup is still really good, dude. I think, honestly, you get Marvin Harrison Jr. on the bench next week, unfortunately. And I think you might look elsewhere at quarterback. I mean, even Bo Nix put up 21 points on your bench. But we're going to slide in Zay Flowers to the lineup. And then in 2 weeks, we're getting a full tilt Devon Achane back. With Gibbs, Kamara, and Achane in the lineup, that's just scary. And by the way, I still think Marvin Harrison Jr. could pop off in the second half. I mean, he's still a rookie. You know, it takes time, dude. It just does. I don't think he was a good pick I don't know, Liam either took him in the first or second round, but it was basically, they were within like 2 picks of each other. So I told Liam a couple weeks ago he should have taken Kyren Williams, and I think I was absolutely right on that pick. And I did joke with Liam too that I have the 2 best rookie receivers in Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors, and that would put Marvin Harrison Jr. third. And that's very funny because I took Malik Neighbors in the 4th, and I think I took Thomas in like the 8th. So, yeah, man. Here's the thing. I just wonder, like, I know we meme Kyler Murray really hard for, you know, playing COD and whatever. But I think, like, you know, they say, like, all jokes have some truth to them. And I have heard, like, I mean, I listen to, like, sports talk radio, like Colin Cowherd. You know, I watch fantasy football podcasts. But really, like, from the podcasts I listen to that are, like, actually inside the NFL, not really fantasy related, I have heard from players and coaches and stuff like that just through various podcasts, like, more than once, that Kyler Murray just isn't the most committed to football. Like, they really did have to put that clause in his contract to watch a certain amount of hours of film. That wasn't a joke. Like, that was the truth. And like I said, I know we meme about the COD stuff, but I really do think, like, you can tell the preparation is just not that of someone like, I don't know, like a freaking CJ Stroud or a Patrick Mahomes or a Joe Burrow or something like that, where regardless of the result, like, you know, that dude really loves football. I don't see that in Kyler. I don't see any fight. Like, Packers got up big, and you just don't see the urgency. I mean, yeah, man, and I think he's got all the talent. Like, I think he's got all the talent in the world. And for whatever reason, it's just not working. And I think you kind of at some point have to point to, okay, what's the preparation? You know, how hard is he working? Maybe he's just not working as hard as he could or should. So I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. But and then Jahmyr Gibbs, It's funny. Like everyone said that Jahmyr Gibbs was going to take over the Lions' backfield this year, and I vehemently disagreed with that because that's just not how their offense is set up. It's set up to have two running backs, a thumper and a receiving back, right? It's like Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara back in the day. And then, it's a better version of Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. And I really think it's actually tilted a little bit in David Montgomery's favor. Probably maybe 55-45 in favor of David Montgomery. But listen, let's not kid ourselves. Jahmyr Gibbs is averaging 16 points a game, right? He had 91 yards from scrimmage today. This was his worst game of the season. He has 3 touchdowns on the season through 6 weeks. Listen, to me, there's just no way that he doesn't have some spike weeks. And when he's not having spike weeks, I mean, listen, Liam, he's your third best running back when Devon Achane is here. If Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be your flex in a couple weeks, and I think that's a fantastic flex. And then I think you must start Devontae Smith, and you get to choose from Terry McLaurin, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Zay Flowers. And right now, I think the leader in that would probably be Terry McLaurin. But dude, that's a fucking good lineup. That's a really, really good lineup. So I'm not, 96 points this week. I'm kind of just letting the big dogs that I've had at the top of the list, me, Liam, Isaiah, and Josh, we all struggled this week. But I'm not completely panicking on anyone's team just now, although I do think the likes of Brandon and Michael are really knocking on the door. This is a very interesting point in the league. We're at a crossroads here. We've kind of had the early contenders, but it's starting to mesh together a little bit. Some of the some of the unlucky teams are starting to get a little bit luckier, and except Arthur. And so, yeah, we'll see how it goes over the next couple weeks. But just to recap, I got Arthur at 12, Diego at 11, Neil at 10, Eric at 9, Ray at 8, Eli at 7, Michael at 6, Josh at 5, Brandon at 4, Isaiah at 3, myself at 2, and Liam at 1. I'll catch you guys later.